What is going on, Whisper Nation? And welcome for joining Monday's mock draft here on April 18th. Hope you had a wonderful Easter or a Passover for those celebrating. It's great to be in here with you. Before we get to our mock draft Superflex redraft, let's bring in the rest of the boys. You know the gang. We got Johnny Game Time Hicks there on the bottom. You can catch him at Twitter at Johnny_Game Time. And immediately to my left, your right, it is Big Travie, the one and only. Catch him on Twitter at Big Travie TFW. And we're going to jump straight into some of these questions with the draft coming up not too far away. We're going to do a little bit of word association. Right now, let's go ahead but before we do that, I want to give a big shout out here to Scott, Eric, Freak Stomper, Calvin Brown, everybody here from Whisper Nation tuning in. Absolutely love it. But Johnny, Travis, welcome. Great to see you. Word association here. Draft day. When I say draft day, Travis, what comes to mind?
Johnny Manziel comes to mind because Drake has a song that's draft day, and then he says Johnny Manziel. I think he says 5 years later, and how am I the man still? Or something like that, 4 years later. Either way, that didn't age well because Johnny Manziel was everybody's favorite college player. But, yeah, that's what comes to mind.
We can all be the man in our own minds, and I hope you are in yours as well, whoever's listening to this. Johnny, how about for you when I say – what comes to mind when I say epic bust?
Oh, you gave me I thought you were going to give me the same
nope.
word.
What comes to mind when I say epic bust?
Andy Isabella.
Oh, it breaks my heart.
That's what comes. Yeah, and that's coming from a guy who's a diehard Cardinals and invested in this Andy Isabella auto helmet. Okay, so that it gives me, with the
if you check it, maybe turn that upside down, use it as a pen holder.
Hey,
oh my God, that's brutal.
If you check the Geneva Convention, I'm allowed to say those words.
What about, I'll give you another one here. I said epic bust. You gave me Andy Isabella, not unfair. How about highway robbery on draft day? What comes to mind, Johnny? Highway robbery on draft day.
Oh, CeeDee Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh,
that was highway. He got him at like pick 16.
Okay, yeah, I like that one. And that even ended up working out well. Travi, do you think that Jerry Jones is going to be going after any of the wide receivers? Maybe Drake London, Freak Stomper's number one guy, who's got some issues with our yards after catch. And Freak, I'll tell you, man, we've been watching our film and leaning in. Share us some of the film that we need to be paying attention to because I'm seeing a tree that gets hit and falls right down. Ball's in his hand, great catch, but I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing any Deebo Samuel or Rondale Moore type of moves from the work we were looking into. But what about you, Travi?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say really quick, Freak Stomper, we were looking at your comment today off air, and I just think it's something to take a look at. If you could let us know where you see that he's number 5 in the nation in yards after catch, because the stats we're looking at per PFF, they grade every play. They've been doing it for about 5-6 years now. I mean, they said he was, way down there in yards per, or in yards after catch per reception. So for me, I don't know. I don't even know that he's high up on that list that you're talking about. But we'll check it out. We'll take a look. I'm not going to back down though. I don't really like Drake London all that much as far as what we're talking about outside of contested catch. We'll see though. We'll see where your guy goes. If he's a yak monster, then I'll stand corrected, but I'm not seeing it. And you asked about Jerry Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy goes and gets a wide receiver. They got rid of Amari Cooper because of the contract issues. I wouldn't be surprised if they go get a rookie wide receiver to keep him underneath that rookie contract.
All right. I like that one too. It's going to be exciting to watch that. And Whisper Nation, if you are just tuning in, we are going to be doing a Day 1 NFL Draft live reaction show. And so make sure you are liked and subscribed if you enjoy hanging out with us. We would appreciate that to be there with you on draft day itself. But boys, we got our own draft that we're jumping into here, right? We got a mock draft. Johnny, what's the rules for today's mock draft?
The rules are there are no rules on this mock draft. It is prison rules, so anything goes. No, I'm just kidding. That's not how it is. We will have rules. Okay, so it is a Superflex redraft, not a dynasty this time, just a redraft. And then we will be doing, you have a quarterback, 2 wide receivers. Here, I'll pop this up so you can see the roster here. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, wide receiver, running back flex spot, then the super flex. So you can fit in a quarterback in there. Most likely you want to do that. And then we've got a bunch of bench spots. So, and it is 12 team and PPR, if I didn't mention all that.
I just want to say really quickly that I went ahead and took Freak Stomper's advice. Last one I'll say on here, and I Googled it. I typed in Drake London yards after catch. The pop-up is London in 2021 was 33rd in yards after the catch and 6th in missed tackles forced, again, in only 8 games. Not only does he have the frame and aggression to serve as a tweener tight end in the run game, but the vision and fluidity with the ball in his hands to extend plays beyond the reception. That's an interesting take from sport. A tweener. Yeah. In there.
Again, I think it's going to determine or a big determining factor will be where he ends up going.
Yeah. How they want to use him.
Yeah. And how they want to and where he ends up fitting. But I personally, when I watch the tape, I definitely see him as like a number 2 wide receiver that is going to be stretching the field and going up and getting like a Michael Floyd type, an Alshon Jeffrey kind of thing.
AJ Green, how he's been for the Cardinals
AJ
last
Green.
year.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect example.
All right. Let's see if anybody takes him in this mock draft. We are got a full room. Love to have you with us here.
Go.
Jay Blizzy in the 2, Smitty Satao, Death by Rona, Easy Daddy. I'm in the 6. We got BJ Chill. We got Take the Top, Brokout 38, Fred Beasy, Johnny, and Draft Hustle rounding us out in that 12 spot. Derrick Henry, Big Travie, 1-1. Tell us what you got thinking in there.
Yeah, I just don't. I've been drafting quite a bit in best ball, and then in the couple drafts that I've had the number 1 spot, we haven't done a redraft. So I think in a redraft situation, this feels nice to go ahead and do. Mm-hmm. I think if you got the opportunity to do it, yeah, Jonathan Taylor is probably the right pick, but I don't think that Henry's that far off. Even in a PPR, we saw this guy miss time and stay considerably inside the top 5 at the position. He seems to be in the right offense. With the right play caller, with the right build as far as body's concerned, and motor to get it done. So I'm with the Derrick Henry love.
Pretty safe pick. I like to go with my first round pick to be, with a high ceiling, but I'm risk averse in the first round as much as possible. Johnny, what are you kind of looking for in that first round?
Risk adverse for sure. But again, Derrick Henry to me is worth the risk because we do know that he is going to be healthy in the beginning. At least, we do say this on, April 18th, but we presume he would be healthy at least for the beginning of the season. And so much, that was one of the biggest things that I kind of shifted on mentally wise when I'm looking at a roster is really attacking that first half of the season. It really opens the door of what you can do as a fantasy player. Again, you want to finish strong, of course, but if you get off to a great start, you are able to take advantage of some moves that you might not otherwise be able to do. And it just puts you in a better position. Now, there are, as Big Travie might jump in here and say, hey, it doesn't always help to start off, strong. You could end up tailing off. And that's certainly true. But we do know that Derrick Henry is a beast, at least when he's healthy and playing games. And I expect him to do so for the first half of games, at least.
Yeah, I feel that. And I expect Slim Reaper to be coming in here, say what's up. Appreciate that. What's going on, guys? Missed that stash, beard, and jawline. Hashtag Whisper Nation strong. Glad to have you with us, man. And rounding out here this first round, we got Johnny coming up on the clock. Derrick Henry taking 1-1. It is a super flex redraft format, though, listeners. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes are the 3 quarterbacks off the board. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and now Austin Eckler are the 3-4 running backs that are gone, with Cooper Kupp and still Tyreek Hill, the number 2 wide receiver. Travis, is there anything here that's weird to you, or is it going how you'd kind of expect it to so far in the first round?
I think that the Tyreek Hill one is a little interesting. I don't know.
I thought so too.
I don't know if I'd be taking him right there. Maybe I'm a little bit too risk averse, like we're talking about here. Maybe I'm a little too scared. I need to go to church, but I really like Tyreek Hill. I just don't know that adjusting to a new quarterback. I mean, statistically, it's not good for a wide receiver to adjust in that first year. Now, we've also seen greats do it. DeAndre Hopkins, Randy Moss, Stephon Diggs. We've seen these guys go and do it, and in their first year, they're fine. So maybe Tyreek Hill is that guy. Maybe he's that dude. But Tua Tagovailoa is not Josh Allen. He's not Tom Brady. And, some of the QBs that these guys went to. He's not even Kyler Murray for that sake. So I would be a little bit worried about Tyreek Hill.
I want to spend just a second on Tyreek because I think there are some real question marks to hash out here. And I do want to get Johnny's take on this as he is picking his second round guy. But my question here is on Tyreek. I see two ways that this could go down. Where Tyreek Hill is way regressed from what we've seen in years past. You don't have cannon arm Mahomes going for you, maybe force feeding you the ball. I also see another possibility where Tyreek Hill has still a top 3 season. And the reason being, he's the number 1 option still in Miami. Is he getting the ball as deep? No, but he can still make work happen after he gets the ball 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But the reason why I'm leaning towards considering an even increase in production is because Mike McDaniel, who comes from that Kyle Shanahan coaching system, just did wonders with the new weapon of the NFL, Deebo Samuel. I have to imagine Tyreek Hill is a bit recruited to come over there and serve some multifunctionality. Am I right, Johnny? Where let's get him in some jet sweeps. Let's get him out of the backfield. I mean, he would strike me as being the best weapon they currently have to hold that kind of role. And if that's the case, yeah, you might not be getting as many 50-yard bombs, but you might get 4 or 5 more carries from behind the backfield. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah, I think that's definitely what they're going to be doing with him. And especially after giving him that massive contract, you have to imagine this is also what they had expected or they are expecting to do with him and use him quite a bit, because you don't give up that draft capital and pay a wide receiver if you don't have something in mind. And again, you're just looking at where he comes from, the coaching tree, and seeing how they used a guy like Deebo, and you could definitely imagine Tyreek Hill getting carries and things like that and really trying. It'll be really, here's what it's going to be.
Say it with your chest, Johnny. He's going to get 10 rushing touchdowns. You're calling it right here. Tyreek gets 10 rushing touchdowns. You said it.
Oh, well, what do you think the over-under would be? It would be interesting if Vegas has this right now, but what 6? I think 6 is very realistic. Maybe give or take 1 or 2, but maybe 5. But I do think that he could get like 6. They don't, we have Chase Edmonds. We do like him as a running back, but is he like dynamic around the goal line? We haven't really seen that. He could be. And then, they have Raheem Mostert. Let's see if they draft a running back, but they don't have a ton of skill around the goal line. That would be like, they're definitely going to be giving it to this guy. So you could definitely imagine Tyreek Hill will be involved in that. And McDaniels is a younger coach to where he wouldn't be afraid to do that.
I think you're right. I think that offense,
especially when he's getting paid $100K to lose.
To watch.
Sorry, I had to throw that in.
I think that offense is going to be so fascinating to watch. I mean, you got the youngest, I don't think he's the youngest coach, but he's super young. He's super weird and funky. He comes from Shanahan's tree, so it's going to be, forward thinking, a lot of different wrinkles in the offense, and they've got weapons out the wazoo in Miami right now. I mean, across the board. Cedric Wilson, their 3rd wide receiver. I mean, really looking fine. They've got Mike Gesicki at tight end, who could be that move tight end for this offense very well. And then all the running backs that they've accrued too, I think all have speed and dynamicism too. So I'm really excited for Miami's offense. I think it's going to be something to watch this year.
I think you got a good point that you're making towards him. I wanted to ask you about another exciting running back here that I'm thinking about actually picking up, and that's Antonio Gibson. And I am looking at him
right there.
Tell me why he is available this late. I mean, I'm thinking right now about either going Russell Wilson, who I also think is probably going to be a top 5 quarterback this season. I mean, this might be the first time he's ever been in an offensive-minded system. And he is also surrounded by great weapons there in Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and Tim Patrick. So I think Russell Wilson is slept on a little bit, especially, just being at age 33 for a quarterback, nothing. And I think he's got something to prove, and I think he's got the ability to prove it. But my question was actually, Travi, about Antonio Gibson. And here's the setup for it. In his rookie year, he was the number 12 running back in standard. Last year, in his second year, he was the number 11 running back in standard. So he's been back-to-back RB1s in standard, just one spot lower in PPR 13 and 12. So last year, he was the back-end RB1 in standard as well as PPR. And the coach is the same. I think the offense is probably better with Carson Wentz behind center, but he's done it with bad quarterbacks regardless. It's the same coach. He's going to have a healthy shin, you imagine. And why is he being taken this late if he's almost like a lock to be an RB1, but maybe with the highest ceiling he's had so far?
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are obviously scared off the shin injury. We saw J.D. McKissick eat into some of the receiving work last year, and we've never really seen our guy Gibson get to where we want him to get. Because remember, he's the converted wide receiver. So in our head, we're like, he needs to be the CMC. He needs to be this guy that like comes in and dominates so many touches. What's up, Ronald? I wanted to say what's up to Ronald coming in here. How's it going, Professor Ron? But to me, I don't think that's a reason to kind of slight him, because anything above what he did last year, receiving wise, is going to be a bonus. And like you said, he was right there. PPR, RB13. Standard, RB12. He's an RB1 with a busted shin all of last year.
Right.
You got to imagine he's a little bit healthier. He missed 2 games last year. So imagine if he plays a full slate like he did in his rookie year. And again, it's the coaching staff continuity with the best quarterback that this coaching staff has had. And I know that my Carson Wentz deniers are out there cringing when I say that, but Carson Wentz is going to be good enough to get this offense going. Remember, in his time with Doug Peterson, even in Indy, dumps off to the running back quite a bit. So I think there's a lot here for Gibson to get going. And I'm excited about him this year. I'm not as scared as I was even last year coming in. I'm actually more excited. Shin injury behind him, maybe, worse quarterbacks behind him too.
And I think Johnny is in line with at least some of that thinking, given he picked him up there in the 3rd round. Yeah. Josh, our former Whisper listener champion, coming in saying, love Fournette this year, Johnny. We do too. We've been talking about him. I wanted to get your take, though, Johnny, on Scott's comment here. Y'all are completely paying too much for Debo. We had thought he was a bit inflated last year when he started off hot, but then he finishes as an elite option. Where do you come into this year looking at Debo Samuel, Johnny?
I do think he is a little inflated as far as, where he's being drafted, simply because the guys that are going behind him. And now if this were Dynasty, I could understand, right? But when you're talking, and I don't think it's terrible where you got him, Austin. But it's just like, okay, if I'm taking Debo, Hopkins, CeeDee Lamb, or AJ Brown, like those 4 right there, you are paying for the production of last year and then somewhat discounting what, those other 3 wide receivers did. Now, that's rightfully so, right? You can certainly play that way, and maybe you're right, but you tend to see, like we said, is Debo going to get 10 rushing touchdowns next year? Probably not. And so
why not?
Why not? I think that they'll have their running backs will be more healthier. Their running back room will be more healthy, and that was a big reason as to why Debo got more rushing attempts.
Like, I'm not trying to be difficult on this one, but I took Debo Samuel here. I'm feeling good about it, and here's the reason on this is Debo is the main vein of that offense.
Yeah,
I think it's Debo, and then it's Elijah Mitchell, and maybe it becomes Trey Lance, but he is their number 1 pass catching option.
I mean,
he's their
on
most
NFL Live, Austin. To your point, they said, it was RG3 and Dan Orlovsky, and they said that Debo was arguably the best player on that entire team. So to your point, how good Debo is, right? And that's a good. I mean, they've got a lot of good pieces. You've got Bosa, you've got,
and I feel like we're saying it every week, but I do think it's worth noting that Shanahan was very excited to give Debo the ball when he demanded it, and said that this is a player that I listen to when he speaks. So again, was it a one-off year for Debo, or has actually Debo been telling us something? His rookie year, he was a dog. We liked him a lot, but then Ayuk came, stole that attention away. We faded Debo for Ayuk to our chagrin, and then you saw, Debo explode here. Are we going to do that again? Or are we going to believe that he is maybe the best player on their team, and they're going to, give him the Cooper Kupp treatment and continue to work him in, the Tyreek Hill treatment, continue to find ways to get him, the ball when they need to?
I'm going to take Elijah Mitchell just to kind of lock up the playmakers in San Francisco. Yeah, I'm not disappointed on that one. But the last thing I kind of say on Debo Samuel is I have confidence in Debo Samuel the same way that I had confidence in Devontae Adams when he was with Green Bay, the same way that I have confidence in Cooper Kupp this year with Los Angeles. And that's because they had tremendous success with this weapon as their main vein. and there's no reason to think they're going to lean away from him. Yeah, he could get hurt for sure. And he's got a history of that. But if we take that element out, which is definitely what I'm doing in my draft, taking Christian McCaffrey 1 and Deebo Samuel 2, we're pretending that injuries are turned off in this game. But if, realistically speaking, Deebo Samuel is going to be the tip of the spear for the San Francisco 49ers because he was the most dangerous weapon in the NFL last year. And I'm saying that with Cooper Kupp in the room. So
the bigger question is, if Trey Lance gets the keys to the car, is that a concern? Do we have a concern that the rookie or quasi-rookie quarterback will be a concern? Because what we saw was him getting 16 carries a game, in as a quarterback. And does that take away opportunity for a Deebo Samuel to get the rushing share that we wanted? That's a bigger question to Deebo Samuel's legitimacy than I think, whether or not he's good enough to demand the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a real question. I was wondering that. I saw it was one of our friends, maybe it was Evan Silva or another member in the industry, talking about how much more valuable Deebo Samuel would become if Trey Lance took over. And I was like, how is that the case? John, did you have any insights before we move off of the 49ers about impacts to these skill players, Kittle, Deebo? You can throw in Ayuk if you'd like to, but if we have Trey Lance behind center versus Garoppolo?
Yeah, that's the other thing that for me is who's going to be the quarterback, and can Lance take that next step is the big question. Now, I do think when you're talking about safe, who's like the safest option when you're talking about that whole thing, I do think it would be Deebo would be the safest option because they get him the ball a lot around the line of scrimmage. And so you don't have to be the most talented quarterback in order to do that. I do think that could affect Ayuk. I think also, and then Kittle will be fine, I think, ultimately, because he's a tight end. Quarterbacks like to go to their tight end, especially a good weapon like Kittle. So I think you might actually get Kittle at somewhat of a discount. I know he went right after Waller in this draft, but I think as we start, because that's a name that's not, it's kind of getting forgot about a little bit. Damn, dude, people have just been sniping my players this round.
Did you want this at Mike Williams?
Originally I wanted Tom Brady. I didn't think Draft Hustle was going to take Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers, so that I played myself there, and that's why I took DJ Moore. And then
played yourself.
You played yourself.
And then I was looking at Michael Thomas, and so I end up going Rodgers this round instead of Michael Thomas. But yeah.
I ended up going Michael Thomas. I'm going pure sex appeal on this draft right now. And there's nothing quite like a slant boy over there when you got, no, I'm just playing. It's Michael Thomas, though, obviously is a former number 1 overall wide receiver. He's 29 years old. And I got real question marks about Michael Thomas. We put that video out last week or so, but the ceiling on Michael Thomas is probably unparalleled for other players in this space. Other guys I was thinking about, and Travis, I know you're taking your pick. Michael Pittman was somebody I was considering with a really high ceiling right here in this kind of 6th, 7th round range. Jalen Waddle, to me, I was shocked he was available that late. I almost took him over Elijah Mitchell. I like him in a PPR format especially, but after he was gone, Michael Thomas, Cortland Sutton, Michael Pittman, Devonta Smith, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We'll throw him in there for good measure too. How do you kind of look at Michael Thomas, Cortland Sutton, Michael Pittman, and then Smith and St. Brown?
So I like Sutton and Pittman quite a bit. I think the quarterback upgrade really helps them. Did you put Waddle in that mix as well? Did you ask?
No, I had liked Waddle in it kind of in a different
I like Mike Williams a lot. They paid him. They kept him there, especially if they move off of Keenan Allen, as Johnny's been kind of seeing on Twitter. That could be possible because of the contract situation. I would like Mike Williams a whole lot more. But I think, as far as inconsistency, that's where I would probably it would be your preference. Do you like more consistency at wide receiver? Then maybe you go a Michael Thomas. If you like the upside, because I think Mike Williams' upside is far greater than Michael Thomas. I think just given the offenses, given the quarterback play, all the question marks, that's why I think Williams has a bigger ceiling. But Thomas is going to be your guy that's a little bit more even keel. He's going to get receptions, especially in a PPR. You're going to like that. But yeah, I'm excited about these guys. And then Devonta Smith, you're asking for a lot. You're asking for his progression, which he looked great. And then you're also asking for a Jalen Hurts progression. So you need both of those things to hit, which should happen. They're both young. They're both, growing in their career. That should happen. But yeah, I think I'm really excited about a guy like Cortland Sutton. You talked about Jalen Waddle. Like, I just want to speak really quickly on Jalen Waddle, because everybody, you see a lot of this on Twitter is, oh my God, Tyreek Hill's there. That hurts Jalen Waddle. We got to quit. If a guy is good, and Jalen Waddle, guys, broke the rookie record for receptions. He's good. He's real good. And Tua already has established rapport with Jalen Waddle. So I'm not saying that Tyreek Hill won't come and get his, but we got to stop thinking that if a guy is good and another good guy comes in, that's automatically going to mean that guy sucks. Now, no, let's talk about what should happen to the Miami offense. New coaching regime, all these weapons, another year for Tua under his belt with actual confidence from a coaching staff. So really the water should rise. The whole offense should maybe be better, which should account for everybody getting their own in that offense. I'm actually, again, not to keep making this a Miami Dolphins show, but I think Waddle's getting slept on a little bit. And that's a beneficial thing. Like, we should actually kind of like that ADP-wise.
I want to touch on something there. It's coming, man. You're giving me goosebumps on this one, man, because you're touching on a point that I think deserves a little bit more consideration within the fantasy world, because you've got points for either case. And here's the dynamic. We've got wide receivers. We're talking wide receivers. They're playing within a system. You've got two good wide receivers. Is one going to cannibalize overall fantasy points from the other? Or does a rising tide lift all boats? More first downs, more opportunities to score. That benefits everybody, right? Now, we just talked a little bit about Denver. We talked about Cortland Sutton. I really like Cortland Sutton. I think he's a sleeper because he could actually be the number one ahead of Jerry Jeudy. I think Jerry Jeudy is more likely to be the number one, but there is a world where Cortland Sutton actually is the number one. We just haven't seen enough of both of them play together, especially with a new quarterback coming in. So we got to talk about what I wanted to ask was, and as I get ready to make my pick right here. Oh, my boy Kenneth Walker. Yeah, I like him. He's going to come in and make some splashes. So, but my question here is, what do you kind of see as the dynamic between what impacts if a wide receiver cannibalizes from another, or if they actually both lift one another up? Because we have a lot of examples of two wide receivers both being top five, right? Like Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf not too long ago. And we're expecting Russell Wilson to potentially have the same impact for Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton this year. But then staying in Denver, when Jerry Jeudy was out, Cortland Sutton was kicking ass. As soon as Jerry Jeudy came back in the mix, neither one were really getting enough looks to be fantasy relevant for you. So my question is, does it come down to the system and how voluminous the passing attack is, and maybe how willing the coaching staff is to go with their strengths? And if you've got a system that's like, no, we are slow paced and that's what we do no matter what, then it could be cannibalizing. Did I answer my own question there, Johnny? Yeah. Or is there anything more here on that?
I am Ron Burgundy. Yeah, I think you did answer your own question. I think it just depends on the coaching staff and what they're trying to implement. I think that when you look at Denver, the coaching staff that they're bringing in, the fact they trade for Russell Wilson, knowing the intentions of what Russ has been pretty much screaming out, like he wants to be cooked. What's up, Mr. Miyagi? He wants to cook. So Denver has been gearing up for this for a while, because you got to also, Hunter Renfrow going this. Oh, I thought he was going to fall to me. That's why I took Derek Carr last year. This draft is just driving me nuts here.
I freaking love how amped up you get about mock drafts, Johnny. It's seriously,
man, I try to get the best team possible
all the time, no matter what the context is.
I try to win every mock draft.
You were like Michael Jordan and I took that personally. When he took this player that I wanted, and I took that personally.
Yeah, at the end of this, you don't want to mock that way. Draft, hey, you want to mock that way? Don't mock that way.
Oh my God,
that's how I mock it.
That is so good.
But I don't even remember what we were talking about there. Something about
I think there's a give and take. We could look at like plays ran and say, oh, we want an offense where they run a ton of plays because that means there's more opportunity for these guys. Or we can just look at talent, because I have a feeling Miami's not going to be that crazy in plays ran because it's a Shanahan system. They're going to run a lot, which means the play clock's going to be eaten up quite a bit. The actual game clock's going to be eaten up quite a bit. So you're going to have a situation where they'll probably be like actually bottom in plays ran. But how effective can they be, and how, narrow will the target tree be for Waddle and Hill? And I think that's where it's going to live. Now, I think Gesicki's going to have good games. I think he's a fine later round tight end. And I think Cedric Wilson's going to be a waiver guy. But I make no mistake, I think the bread and butter of this offense will be between Waddle and Hill. And yes, Johnny points out nice stats about Tua Tagovailoa being a guy that can actually get the ball down the field. Now, he didn't do it a lot, but when he did, it was good. What am I going to trust, though? What am I going to trust more? That sample size being extrapolated out and being like he's going to be the greatest deep ball thrower now? I'd actually trust that he's actually going to lean more on Jalen Waddle because he has established rapport. Waddle's a good intermediate player. He can get him like the safety net kind of stuff. And I think that is going to move the chains a lot more. I'm not saying Hill won't have big games and he won't be a splash wide receiver, but expecting Hill to be as consistent as he was in Kansas City, I think is, and I just rather fade Hill, taking him as early as you have to take him, and go get Waddle, which I think is actually going to be the safer play to go get.
I love these later on receivers that we think are going to be close to as impactful, or at least like make a case for having a really prominent role on that offense. And that's what I'm going with right now, taking Michael Gallup. That might be a little bit of an optimistic pickup, but I look at how well Dallas has supported two wide receivers in years past. And I'm kind of liking what Michael Gallup might bring to the table behind CeeDee Lamb. What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I think when you're drafting these guys, you have to have a couple of mindsets, right? You want to go for upside. Like, this is the 10th round, so you should start going for these lotto tickets. And I'm not necessarily looking for guys that, are going to be, don't really have a high ceiling. You want to go for guys that have a high ceiling and have the potential to reach that ceiling. I think Michael Gallup is definitely one of those guys, right? Like, we've seen him be productive. We know he's a good wide receiver. The talent is there. He just got paid. They let go their other number one wide receiver. And not everything. And Cedric Wilson is gone as well. So not everything. They actually have, again, we kind of joke about it with Dallas and getting wide receivers, but it wouldn't be a surprise at all if Dallas went and got another wide receiver. But the upside is definitely there for Gallup. What you also want to kind of keep in mind is also just that you don't have to always play these guys every single week, that you can play these guys in matchups. And that's actually the more beneficial way to look about your roster is these other guys are depth guys that are going to be like these plug-in plays on weeks and can catch fire, right? And then, every once in a while you strike gold and you pick up a guy that ends up being, a Deebo Samuel last year.
You bring up an interesting point there in different redraft strategies as they come up. This is a redraft league that we're gearing up for. And I see a lot of the projections at the end of a mock draft, kind of fail to recognize how much attrition or how many like different lineups you might be looking to set. They just kind of evaluate the overall expectation for those players. And I think that's an unfair way to evaluate a fantasy squad, especially like pre-week 1. If you're asking me now, I got to take my next pick here.
Yeah, you got 5 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, let's
take any more. Now you only have one.
Ooh, Bateman. Bateman's a good upside guy. I like Bateman.
And that's what I was thinking too. And the point I kind of want to make is actually made here nicely with Bateman. Is Bateman in my mind has 2 routes. He becomes like a bigger stud than we were expecting him to be, or he's kind of what you kind of expected him to be. And that's like the second or third option behind a quarterback who has question marks surrounding his accuracy. So if he is in that latter camp, no questions asked, drop him. I get to go now and play the waiver wire game. And that's awesome. There's talent all around. And as soon as you get stagnant thinking your squad is locked up, that's when you lose your next 3 games in a row. And I want to be able to keep it fluid. And so give me some of these more riskier players in the double-digit rounds, especially where it's like if Bateman, let's say Bateman rises up, he jumps Hollywood Brown, Lamar Jackson, he gets a little bit more comfortable in that pocket, and Bateman becomes like a wide receiver 2 with upside. That's nice. I love picking him up in the 11th round. Or, if he's averaging 3 targets and like 45 yards a game, like adios. Let me pick up a backup defense that's going to be going up against the Jets in a week or two or whatever. Give me something like that. So I'm just looking at different like redraft strategies that come into the mix and things that you should pay attention to.
The other thing that I kind of picked up last year, actually in our hometown league, that I wish I would have. Hold on, let me make this pick, and then I'll make this point. Do I go? Ooh. Does Gronk play this year?
I think so.
I think he's probably just skipping all the workout stuff.
I think he's going to wait until it gets exciting, and it'll get exciting.
Yeah.
The best story about Gronk was them like needing him to send video of his workouts, and he changed his shirt.
Yeah, and it was
the same day, and then just kept sending them different videos.
That's kind of smart, though. I mean, it's a little dirty. You're not stoked if you're the conditioning coach.
Yeah,
but that's smart. Like, at least he played that better than Jamarcus Russell did.
Yeah, no joke.
What I was gonna say earlier real quick is that towards these other, also think, I know oftentimes we get so caught up in like that draft night and everything, and there's a lot of emotions and it's exciting, but that's just like your starting ground, right? So it's also wise in these later rounds. Let's say that, I have an eye on Austin's team. I see that, he
looking at his team, are you?
Yeah, looking at his team. But like, let's say I like the fact he got Michael Thomas, right? And I really want to try to get Michael Thomas. So now or actually it's kind of a little bit difficult with wide receivers. I would more so go running backs. Like if you have someone that you're eyeing on another team that's already been drafted, you can take players like the handcuffs and kind of start to set yourself up for a trade. Now, does that always happen out or always pan out? No, it doesn't. So you have to know your league in that situation. But I do know, like last year when we were at our draft, there was a couple situations where if I would have just drafted the handcuff, I could have made some deals during the draft and really bettered my team. And that would have been very helpful.
That's a good and helpful point there. Kind of segueing into Mr. Miyagi's question here. He says, talking about redraft in a single quarterback league, do you rather draft 2 quarterbacks and 1 tight end or 1 quarterback and 2 tight ends? I'm going to jump in here first. I am a strong supporter here of going with the 2 quarterbacks and the 1 tight end. I think these are similar positions, right? You can waiver wire a decent one almost any given week, but the margin in a good quarterback might percentage-wise be the same as the margin in a tight end, but they just score a lot more at that position. Quarterbacks score more points than tight ends do. And so if you can sneak one that's got a wider margin and gives you more points, that like might be 10 more points per game. I used to go with this strategy a bit after Cam Newton burned me after I took him second round after his MVP season. And I took later down in the draft, it was Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, and Alex Smith. And they were all top 10 quarterbacks that year. And it was awesome. Like, it was really nice having that much flexibility, and I ended up making some good deals with those quarterbacks. People are looking for quarterbacks more than they're looking for back-end tight end ones. So I think you have more value taking a lotto ticket at the QB position than you do at the tight end position. Travis, you disagree? You agree?
I tend to agree with what you're saying there. I think what you're talking about is mostly you're going to take mid to late QBs, so that's where you're setting yourself up. If you're going to take an earlier QB, hopefully not too early, then you're going to take 1 QB and then probably do your dice roll with the tight ends, but not to like play devil's advocate there on you, Austin. But that's
I'm taking Josh Allen though. I'm not also going to be taking like
I just think that cutoff is exactly. Maybe that cutoff's around like the Dak Prescott, the Kyler Murray, the kind of the mobile guys that tier break there. But I'm with you on like there's guys I'm excited about. Like you said, Tua there. Kirk Cousins is another one that I think people are sleeping on. Just without an offensive-minded thinking coach, Kirk Cousins has been like a borderline top 12 QB. Now you put him in an offense in Minnesota where it's coming from a Ram-style offense. Like he could hit another level, I think, this year, and I don't think people are talking about that enough. So there's guys like that you could take. Derek Carr. How much is Devontae Adams coming to Derek Carr going to increase Derek Carr's ceiling? So we've talked about this a little bit, and we'll talk about it more as the offseason progresses. But these are guys I'm looking at that like I can pair together. So like Austin said, yes, I'd rather go that route. Maybe get your mid-round tight end that you could find and get that 1 tight end and then play the 2 QB.
I'm almost like it just comes to mind here in that 7th, 8th round swing with Draft Hustle. They're drafting like he took Schultz, for instance, like Schultz and Moore. let's say you didn't take Tom Brady earlier, and it's like, okay, you took Justin Fields and Derek Carr there at the turn. That's like 2 quarterbacks that it's like there is some upside, but there's some risk. But you might end up like they both could be top 5.
Right. And then Superflex obviously changes. Like he's talking,
Yes.
our guy, Mr. Miyagi's talking 1 quarterback league. But to your point about that mid-round range, TJ Hawkinson, people are so burned on TJ Hawkinson because he had the injury issues last year. Great value here in the 7th round. Like you could go pick him up, and then even Ertz in the 9th. You know what I'm saying? So you could still get what you're trying to do here at the tight end position. Dawson Knox in the 8th. There's some great value at tight end in the middle rounds.
Yeah, it's kind of this is a great question, Mr. Miyagi. There's just so many options on the waiver wire, especially at tight end. I like to play tight end waiver wire. Like I kind of like it. I don't know. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but
I mean, it is. I mean, Travis brings up a good point in that it is a bit harder to unless you have one of the big 3 tight ends. It is, and maybe Kyle Pitts ends up getting into that category this year because his name is starting to get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But like, for example, I thought that last year. So I took, I was confident in drafting like Tom Brady. And then I was drafting even, I got Kelsey. And despite that, Pitts became a value at one point. So I took him thinking, oh, everyone is going to want to draft or trade for like an elite tight end or a top 5 tight end. And it was hard to move. Like I, in fact, had more people coming and asking about Tom Brady than I did over Kyle Pitts. So it's even in that situation. So like what Travis was saying, it's almost better to take the 2 quarterbacks because especially if they put, it's a 6-point quarterback league, 6 point per touchdown, then people do view that way more significantly.
I think it's a good point too. You bring up the emotional side of it, right? Like quarterbacks are household names and we are emotional beings, and fantasy football is an emotional game. You can find quarterbacks connected to heartstrings more likely than you will be finding tight ends, but that might not be true on draft day. But as the season progresses, people's feelings start coming out, and
I'd be interested to see how many tight ends actually get dealt, Austin. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're sitting here talking about it, and like to Johnny's point, I think that's true. Like unless you have one of the big 3, but even then, I feel like you value tight end so much. Like you want so much for a Kelsey or for a Kittle. Like I don't know if you're going to get that return. I'd love to see the numbers if we could, just like look up how many get dealt. And now quarterbacks, though, I think that because obviously we're doing a Superflex here, but in that hypothetical 1 quarterback league. The pool is so deep. It's like you're probably going to be able to just like get guys that are like, yeah, I can find a quarterback. I'll trade you my guy. Yeah, my second guy here.
That's a good point. And then Travi, as you begin our closing round here, want to give the viewers a little synopsis. We're going to be doing our breakdown of the teams and then jumping into our best ball draft over on Underdog. Is that right, Johnny?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Waiting for you to take the shirt off.
I know. I thought about it for a second. Scott asking, can we do an 8-player one tonight? Maybe pull the group. Unfortunately, they don't have an 8-person one available yet. They only have a 6 and a 12.
So we're gonna get 12, or would you go for 6 again?
We'll go for 6 on this time. Let us know though if we overfill. And I would love to though next week. Let's see if we
love to do a 12-person one.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. So we'll race to get our 6 filled here. That'll be 3 empty spots. Do that alongside you, Whisper Nation. It is a $3 Underdog best ball draft. And we're going to be dropping the link in YouTube here after we get our mock draft here done. And if you'd like to join the draft, go ahead and make sure you got Underdog downloaded. You're in a state that allows for it to be so. And then let's go ahead and do some drafting together. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So as this is going, Travi, do you want to go ahead and maybe tell me a little bit about your team? We've been getting some popular requests. Yes.
Well, I think that I wanted to do some fun stuff, and I just didn't really get the chance to. I do like how I kind of made up for it, but my quarterbacks in a Superflex are going to be dicey. I went with Tua, Mitch, Jameis, and Daniel Jones. These are guys like, easily could not be the starters by the year end. All 4 of them. You know, so I'm not really confident. But other than that, I like my squad. My running backs, Derrick Henry, J.K. Dobbins, James Robinson, Ronald Jones, and then Gus Edwards to kind of solidify that Baltimore backfield there.
Okay.
So I didn't really necessarily want to go Dobbins as my second running back, but it happened. Really excited to pick up James Robinson, though, in the 7th. So that ends up kind of being my second running back that I'm excited about there. And then wide receivers went CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Michael Pittman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then MVS as my dart throw at the end here. Kyle Pitts is the tight end. As Johnny was talking about, I think he's got an opportunity to jump a tier this year, obviously. Not just him being the unicorn and being a guy that they spent a lot of, draft capital on, but all of the vacated targets in Atlanta. I think Pitts is going to be able to soak a lot of that up, and he could really just eat in a PPR. I like my team. I'd probably give it a B-, C+, somewhere around there. I think it's got work to do in the QB situation.
Yeah, I think so too, but I think you got a strong A to B at the running back and the wide receiver positions. Quarterback is of question, but I think you did a good job of spreading it out there to give yourself options. And Kyle Pitts is a nice piece at tight end too, so I think it's a pretty good team on here overall.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
What about yours?
All right. I went full sex appeal. At least it started off on this. Christian McCaffrey at the 1-6. Hey, we all know the injury concerns, but if this man is healthy and they don't draft a running back, you're looking at one of the few pass catching halfbacks that can pretty much do it all. And his skill set is really nice for fantasy and that he likes to break away and make big plays and, all that kind of fun stuff. You can say the same thing for Deebo Samuel, who's a bit of a yak monster, the main vein of the 49ers. I like that. So that's the 2 there. My quarterbacks are going to be Russell Wilson and Matt Stafford. I like the upside on it. I don't think anyone's looking at either of these guys being number 1s, but I don't know if anybody's shocked that they're both top 6s come the end of the year. Elijah Mitchell, I like his role as a running back for the 49ers, run-heavy team. We'll just stick with the running backs there. Kenneth Walker and Cordarrelle Patterson. A little bit of depth there that I think has a pretty high ceiling. Taking a look then at the wide receivers, Deebo Samuel, Michael Thomas, Devonta Smith as my top 3. I like the presumed role on the team they should have. It's a PPR format. I like what they bring to the table. And then Gallup, Bateman, Chark, Van Jefferson, and Devontae Parker is some depth pieces behind them with upside as well. And then Irv Smith was an auto-drafted tight end to round it out. So I don't think I got any holes. I think I've got a decent ceiling. I'm not bumming on this team. I think it's all right.
Yeah, I think the value for guys like Patterson and Gallup here was really big for you. Mm-hmm. That can really swing. Like those are guys with huge ceilings that could really swing the needle the other way for you. But yeah, health will be the biggest concern in your running back room. Otherwise, it's a fucking fast, sexy running back room,
right?
And then you'd say by taking quarterback early-ish in a super flex, 3 and 4. Love the quarterbacks, by the way. You'd say maybe you took the hit at wide receiver, right? But Michael Thomas and Devonta Smith to round out your Deebo Samuel wide receiver room. I really like that. I think that you take the upside of Deebo. Maybe he's more inconsistent this year, and you pair it with 2 consistent guys that should be target, reception leaders for their teams. I think it's well done.
Yeah. I appreciate that. What about you, John? You want to give us a quick breakdown on your squad before we jump into the rest of Whisper Nations?
For sure. I had the 11th pick, took Najee Harris, fell to me. So
that's nice.
I didn't intend on doing that.
I almost took him at 6.
Yeah,
I was thinking Christian McCaffrey or Najee.
I was a little surprised. So I took him, then went Justin Jefferson. I haven't been able to draft him a whole lot. So I wanted to grab him, see what my team would look like. And then Antonio Gibson in the 3rd, followed by Leonard Fournette, just value picks there. So I had to go with that one. Then DJ Moore, going in the same spot as last year. Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback. I really wanted Tom, but he didn't fall to me. Then I also grabbed Derek Carr and Malik Willis as my other 2 quarterbacks. So Derek Carr, I think, should have a solid. I think he'll be a top 12 quarterback. Maybe not a high top 12 quarterback, but I think he'll be solid this year. Tight ends, Goddard and Ertz. We talked about going at it at the position. If you don't get one of those top guys, most likely I'm going to be drafting 2 or 3 tight ends. Just to try to take the gamble on trying to get a good one. Then I got my boy, Kadarius Toney, James Cook, your guys' guy, Alan Lazard, the number one right
That's
now
right.
for the Packers. And
Hopefully
then
for not long.
rookie Dotson, who I actually really like, and then Naheem Hines to round it out. So overall, there were quite a few snipes, and so I definitely got frustrated. But overall, I think I maneuvered the ship okay. I think it's a pretty solid team. I'd be pretty excited.
I think this is solid, dude. Like it's a team to build with throughout the season, but I think that's a smart way to go about it. Man, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, and Leonard Fournette as 3 running backs is really nice. With I'd say an anchor wide receiver there in Justin Jefferson. DJ Moore, I think, is just like kind of like a boring, solid pick. And then you get some other wide receiver help throughout there. That's kind of nice. The quarterbacks do have a little bit of question marks going to them, but at least one of them's got Devontae Adams. So that's something maybe. Yeah, I think it's pretty solid.
The wide receivers outside of Justin Jefferson give me a little bit of cotton mouth. You're like, but it's 2 wide receivers that we're starting here. So I actually like your wide receiving core, factoring that in. Like DJ Moore, like you said, it's kind of boring, but like that's a perfect wide receiver too.
Right.
Like, and especially if you go and get like a Baker Mayfield, who's probably going to pepper a DJ Moore with targets, So I really like the team, Johnny, as much shit as you gave yourself throughout it. I think you pulled it out.
Well, let's go ahead and break down the rest of them. I'm going to do something crazy, guys. Let's start at the end. Let's do draft.
Dude, I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, no.
It's like we spend a lot of time together on a week-to-week basis, and our cycles lined up. It's weird. Let's go ahead and do it in the 12 spot. Johnny, you want to just take the people by you, draft hustle, Fred Beasy, and Brocal, and then I'll pick it up from there?
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments what you give these grades to these teams as well. We'll flash them up. All right. So draft hustle here in the 12th spot takes Jamar Chase with the first pick. Then in the second, grabs Lamar Jackson. Then Cam Akers, followed by Keenan Allen. Then Miles Sanders to grab his second running back there in the 5th. Like I said before, he sniped Tom Brady from me in the 6th round. Then gets Dalton Schultz as his first tight end. Elijah Moore and Williams in the 8th and 9th round. Then he grabs Singletary and Mostert. Wow, he's going like running back, wide receiver here. And then Rondale Moore in the 12th, Cole Kmet in the 13th, Zach Wilson and Pickens to round out his draft. So what are we thinking here? We got Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady as a quarterback. Pretty solid group there. We got Travis looks like he's still looking and trying to figure out what ultimate grade he's going to give. Austin, I'll kick it to you. What do we got here for draft hustle? What grade or phrase would you give draft hustle? Did he hustle on this draft?
I think he hustled. I think he hustled really hard. And I'm looking at these through positional breakdowns: wide receiver, running back, and quarterback. And I look at the quarterbacks here, and Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady, like that's a strong B for me right there. It's a conservative B. Running backs, I'm going to go B- on this. And then wide receivers, I think I got an A- on these ones, on this stack here. I do have some question marks, but it's hard for me to look at Jamar Chase and Keenan Allen and not be like, that's solid. And then Cam Akers and Miles Sanders, like, it's not awesome, but it could be. It absolutely could be awesome. So I don't dislike it. There's no holes. There are some concerns at the running back position in terms of ceiling, but I think you're fine. And then quarterback, like you might have 2 top 5 quarterbacks right there for you with some really big week winning matches. And then Schultz and Kmet, nicely done too. So this is a strong team for me.
So overall, what grade do you give it?
What up, Michael Gray?
I'm gonna go. I think B+ A-.
All right,
I'm with you. I said more than a B because he drafted 2 Moores. B+. I'm with you, Austin. I think the quarterbacks, you were a little conservative on the grade. I think you get the ultimate ceiling with both of those guys that you can hit with those quarterbacks. I love the quarterbacks. I think that's the one part of his team I'm just infatuated with. And then the running backs, I'm with you. It's a little shaky, but I will just say this: Akers' ceilings kind of buoys that whole running back room for me. So as long as Akers hits, I think he'll make up for that. And then he's just trying to figure out his RB2 between the stable. So I really like this team.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Fred Beasy over here, right before me, auto draft the whole thing. So take that into account when you're grading this person's draft. Dalvin Cook in the first. As other running backs were Ezekiel Elliott in the third, Bryce Hall in the fifth, my boy Spiller in the 10th, Melvin Gordon in the 11th, and Jamal Williams in the 15th. So pretty deep running back room there. Wide receivers, Devontae Adams in the second, took Allen Robinson in the 6th. 7th grabbed Adam Thielen in in the 9th, was able to get my boy Bobby Trees. Then Kenny G in the 12th, Julio Jones in the 13th. His quarterback is only Justin Fields. So take that for what it is. He got Justin Fields in the 8th there. Kittle in the 3rd as one of his tight ends, followed by Noah Fant in the 14th to round out his team. Draft didn't auto draft too well.
That quarterback
did the auto draft know that it was a super flex?
I mean, should have,
could have.
I have a
Big Travie. What do you got?
I have a no flex zone C. It's just too hard, I think. And we did it in our 14 team listener league last year where we were screwed on QB in our Superflex and we didn't make the playoffs and nearly got last because of it. Yeah. So I cannot stress how much in a Superflex you really need to have some QBs. And obviously this is an auto drafted team. So Fred, hopefully next time when you're with us, you'll be able to draft another QB for yourself. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I kind of like the skill position pieces, but then, the running backs scare me a little bit. We don't know where Breece Hall is going to land. Ezekiel Elliott could be washed. Spiller, I know Johnny likes him, but nobody else does. Melvin Gordon doesn't have a team really right now. So
Dalvin Cook might be suspended
in the first round, dude.
So no offense, Johnny.
Wait till Spiller starts jumping up draft boards when he comes first.
His way all the way to RB1, huh?
Yeah, dude. When he gets taken number 1.
I just gotta sit in that C range. For me, it's not to negate the upside, but Travie put it well there. Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook. We'll see how many games they both play this year together. How many snaps they both end up putting together to combine. I mean, it could be awesome. It also could be really disappointing. Love Devontae Adams. I think he's going to do just fine, but there's no way he does better than he did last year. And then Robinson, Thielen, Woods, Golladay, Jones. There's a lot of question marks around all of those other receivers. Mm-hmm. George Kittle is nice. Still has question marks, though, especially if Trey Lance takes over. And then he's only got one quarterback.
They went to the old folks' home for wide receivers, dude.
He's
got Thielen, Woods, Golladay, and Julio.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Ditching the walkers for some cone drills.
Want to round us out here, Johnny, on BroCal?
Yeah, rounded us out on BroCal, who took the 9th pick right before me. Austin Eckler in the 1st, followed by my boy DeAndre Swift in the 2nd. He also grabbed Damian Harris all the way in the 8th round and J.D. McKissick in the 12th to round out his running back room. He went tight end heavy in the 3rd and 4th by getting Mark Andrews and Darren Waller. Also grabbing the Denver Broncos. I can never say his last name. Oku.
Just say Albert O.
Albert O. There you go. Albert O. all the way there in the 13th. So really stacking up the tight ends there. Quarterback Jalen Hurts in the 5th. Also grabbed Kirk Cousins in the 7th, and then Jared Goff all the way in the 15th. Pretty good stack there. And then wide receivers here. Tyler Lockett was his first wide receiver off the board in the 6th round, followed by Gabe Davis in the 9th, Claypool in the 10th, OBJ in the 11th, and then Mecole Hardman all the way in the 14th round. So I ask, what do you give as a grade?
I give him an inner because he's missing a W and an R. He's missing wide receiver.
Wait,
I spelled that wrong.
Inner.
I was too.
Yeah.
I gave him an. He got an innie. He's got an innie because he's missing a WR. He's missing a W. Yeah, that was man. It's not clever if it's not clear, and that was not clear. But I was trying. I'm trying for you, Whisper Nation. I was looking at his wide receivers, and I'm concerned about it, man. I love the Andrews and Waller combo. That's fun. Then
Yeah.
Swift and Eckler. I'm concerned about injuries, but if we turn injuries off, these guys are dope. Love it. But then like Tyler Lockett, new quarterback. I'm not sure. Gabe Davis, I think, is awesome, but he's probably your number one wide receiver, to be honest. And like, I don't know if I love that. And then Chase Claypool, man, he just bummed me out so many times last year. New quarterback again, Odell Beckham. He's recovering from his second surgery, which was kind of like under the radar. His first surgery didn't go so well, I heard. And then they were really feeling great about his second surgery, which is scary. And then Mecole Hardman, like I like him too, but we'll see. So I don't know. I'm just not. I've got some concerns about this team. I think you're struggling in wide receivers, and
Enter.
Yeah, you guys an any.
The I'm with you. I think it's like a C. Maybe even a B-, I guess. But the wide receivers feel like a sports car that like doesn't like you don't know how to drive manual. Like you have a sports car, but you don't know how to drive manual. Just because like these guys have weird situations going on. Claypool with Mitch Trubisky, obviously. Tyler Lockett with the Drew Lock situation. OBJ with the knee situation. Like all these guys, you want them like on paper, sexy as hell. But I don't know that you can get it done. So
yeah. All right. Do we want to? We'll go to BJ Chill.
Take the auto draft. Hold on. So Calvin Brown saying he got auto Waller. The auto draft right now didn't draft a QB for our guy Fred Beasy, and then auto drafted a second tight end for our guy Brokow. Sorry about that, Calvin.
Hey, what did I tell you at the beginning?
I actually
prison rules, bro. Prison rules.
Before you could predict, what the
me.
auto draft would do. Now maybe we're getting to a point where anything could happen.
Hey,
anything
could happen. Yeah, the analytics are taking over, dude.
It's getting funky, baby. Well, let's go. I'll go ahead and take over here on Take the Top Off. Let's get this one here, right? And it is Tyreek Hill in the 8th spot. We talked a little bit about him and the presumed role he might have over there in Miami. Stephon Diggs is his number 2, going wide receiver heavy. Let's just round the rest of those ones out. Chris Godwin in the 5th. Jalen Waddle in the 6th. We've got Freak Stomper's boy Drake London there in the 9th and Olev in the 11th. This is an exciting wide receiver room. Let's see how he balances it out. Running backs takes Alvin Kamara at the 3rd. I really hope he plays. It's fun when he does, but I also hope there is justice for the man's face that he destroyed. We got David Montgomery there in the 4th round. He should be great. So it's actually like you might, depending on what happens legally with Alvin Kamara suspension-wise, you might have some solid ass running backs actually that you ended up picking up pretty late. Myles Gaskin, White, Gainwell, and Williams there as some depth pieces. We talked about Gaskin. We like him as a supplementary piece a lot. And Gainwell, we'll see. We'll see. But I don't think you take some risk on drafting running backs as late as you did. You go for some upside, and maybe you got it. Tight end, you picked up TJ Hawkinson and Mike Gesicki. Like those, especially, 7th round and down. The big problem here is you got one quarterback in. It's a super flex league, and that's Mac Jones. Salt in the wound on top of it. So if quarterbacks didn't matter, I think this team might be good. They do. Factoring that in, Johnny and Travis, do you have takes here on Take the Top Off's team?
I do.
Johnny, what about you?
I took the draft off because that's what he did. Because I don't know about this team, man. It's like, I mean, in the beginning, you're like, okay, yeah, all right, and then it just is a shipwreck by the end of it.
I had ideas of grandeur to be able to draw a B, sideways that look like boobs. Take the top off, give him a B, but I can't even give him a B because it's mac and cheesy C. He's only got one quarterback. Again, guys, like that's not going to do it here in a super flex. Like
not going to do it.
And Mac Jones being your only quarterback is, I mean, besides Austin, nobody's going to like that at all.
Yeah,
just kidding, Austin. I know you got big love for Mac Jones.
Yeah, that's right. Moving on here, big love here for our BJ Chill, who takes Cooper Kupp in the 7th spot, Kelsey in the 2nd round, Saquon Barkley in the 3rd, and Watson in the 4th. Man, this is he's going for 4 elites on this. You might get it. I think the ship is probably sailed on Saquon Barkley, but just you hear how long I said probably. Probably. I don't know. We'll have to see. But, I don't know if anyone's holding out their breath on that. Maybe in the New York Football Giants front office. But even then, I don't know. Amari Cooper, though, in the 5th. I like that upside. Should be the number 1 wide receiver in Cleveland. CEH as your number 2 running back. Let's stay over there. Trey Sermon and Chris Carson. Ooh, I don't know about those guys. They might not be. Chris Carson might not play football anymore. Trey Sermon, weird story, man. Taken ahead of Elijah Mitchell, and that's the last time we really heard him being ahead of Elijah Mitchell over in the 49ers room. Let's take a look at your quarterbacks, though. Desean Watson, when he plays, he's been dynamite. He'll probably play the majority of the games in Cleveland, but not the first 6. Still waiting to be seen. Trevor Lawrence there is your second quarterback, who I'm more excited about than I think the rest of the industry is. I'm just taking a full mulligan on what Urban Meyer did to Trevor Lawrence, and this is still the guy most hyped at the position since I'd say Andrew Luck at the spot. So we'll see what he's about, but not a great rookie year, so I get why he was sitting where he was. Big Travie, do you have an initial take here on BJ Chill's mock drafted squad?
Yeah, he's got like a ceiling of an A. But his floor is a C. So it's really hard for me to I guess that puts him at kind of like a B, but I'm just concerned. I guess Jimmy G's your bridge quarterback for Watson. The running backs, man, it reminds me of in Forrest Gump where he runs all the way through. Your running backs are never they're running away here. I just don't know what's going on literally outside of CEH. But even Saquon and CEH, could you have taken a scarier 1-2 with your running backs? I would have liked to see you get somebody to pair with Barkley to kind of hedge your risk there. But again, if it's post hype with these guys, then it's an A. If these guys hit, it's an A. So I don't have a letter grade for you. I have a range of outcomes.
Appreciate that. I think those are totally fair. What about you, Johnny? Be careful. So I gave him a B.
B, a
C. Be careful on this one because like Travis said, I do think that Saquon is actually a value. I think he is a post-type sleeper that people are just falling way too much, down. It reminds me of Derrick Henry a couple of years ago. And then in 2 years, when Saquon's back in the first, we'll be like, oh, remember the days when Saquon was 3rd and 4th round? That just, again, that could be completely wrong. That's just the feeling I get. Not fantasy advice. Do your own research, but that's what I'm getting at. But so overall, I'd say it's a B.
Really quick, would you have liked this team more or less if he would have taken Antonio Gibson over Saquon Barkley?
Less.
What about you, Travie?
Less.
Okay.
Because I've seen Barkley be a top 5 running back. I haven't seen that out of Gibson yet. So at least the ceiling could make up,
Yeah.
I think Gibson could get there. I think it's within it, but I've seen it, I've tangibly seen it for Barkley.
Yeah, I've seen Saquon be the best running back in the world.
Yeah. That might actually be a bad thing. In your judgment process, it may
you're holding on to that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's like a fallacy,
right?
It's a sunk cost kind of fallacy thing. But that's just I'm just being human here.
I hear that's a good point to air out. I think I'm going to think about that as we evaluate other players down the road too. You've seen them do it. Does that mean they can?
Does that mean they're going to do it again? No, it just means that
because actually Antonio Gibson has some signals pointing in his direction that
Park. It's like member berries. It's remember when Saquon was number 1 running back? It's we remember it, but it doesn't.
But realistically, who has a better chance of being a top 5 running back this year?
It would be.
I still think it's Saquon, but something tells me that's kind of flawed logic. But just where I'm
at. I see Saquon as having a better chance of being number 1 overall, albeit small, but I see Antonio Gibson having a more realistic chance of being a top 5.
Give me 7. Give me top 7. If you say top 7, I'll take Gibson. I think that's my hedge. Okay. If you're going to ask me who's better at who's got a better shot at being top 7, I think Gibson.
All right.
Well, it's crazy.
I feel that. Get some more food for thought as we continue munching on all of these good topics. I'll take this last one, Travie, before kicking off to the last 2. All right. So we got Easy Daddy. What's good, my dude? Coming in at the 5 spot. He takes Patrick Mahomes, who was the 3rd quarterback off the board, and you get him there at the 5 spot. I'm feeling pretty good if that happens there. I get it, but I like it. Joe Burrow then in the 2nd. A couple of really nice young quarterbacks there as your super flex duo. Aaron Jones in the 3rd round. liking what I'm seeing so far. Let's just stay with the running backs. James Conner killed it last year, and he got re-signed. He's the starting running back for the Arizona Cardinals. That's an ADP that I expect to rise unless he gets hurt. Rashad Penny. Ooh, you're drafting real nice here, Easy Daddy, who finished the last 6 weeks as the number 1 overall running back in the NFL. You heard that right, folks. Last 6 weeks, month and a half of football. That's like a third of the season. He was the number 1 overall running back. That's significant. And he comes in as the starting running back as of now for the Seattle Seahawks, a run-heavy team. He takes Darrell Henderson and Marlon Mack. That's really nice depth, actually, as your 4th and 5th options. Let's take a look over at the wide receivers. He takes Mike Evans in the 4th round, who gets Tom Brady back, a man who's never had under 1,000 yards and is still 28 years old. Mike Williams as his number 2 wide receiver. Shit, this is looking good. Darnell Mooney, who has a good relationship with Justin Fields, and Allen Robinson is gone. So I expect more snaps, more targets for Darnell Mooney too. I just grabbed my boob, and that was totally reactionary after looking at Easy Daddy's team. And then Christian Kirk, who might be the top dog in Jacksonville with an Urban Meyer-less T-Law. Let's take a look at his tight ends. I'm talking about the football player. I'm not talking about butts. You guys didn't think butts right now. We're talking football here. Why is it getting so sexual? Okay, Knox and Henry. This is nice also. Does this guy have any holes on his team? Holes. Why? Stop it, guys. Stop getting so nasty. You're disgusting.
Speaking of sexual,
I mean,
don't draft like your father. Draft like your daddy. Easy A for our guy, Easy Daddy. I love this team. You got maybe 4 picks in, and I was already writing this. I love what he did here. I think top to bottom, it's good. You could sit here and nitpick and say, oh my God, Connor, regression. It doesn't matter. He's got guys within his running back stable that are going to, account for if Connor can't hit. But I think Connor's in line to see a lot of what he did last year. The wide receivers really excite me because his value wide receivers like Mooney is going to be a target monster over there in Chicago. And he's got the connection already with Fields. So you got him really late, and he's your 3rd wide receiver. I just think there's so much to like here with this team.
What about you, Johnny?
I do like this team. I'm going to preface it with that. Okay. But I will say, hey, chasing 2021, because all these guys, the reason we like them so much is they were all on championship teams for last year. They were all the guys that helped win championships last year. So, of course, we're going to be really high on these guys. Recency bias. Not to say that I don't like these guys, because I do. I would give him an A. I actually do think this is probably the best or one of the top teams in this mock draft right now. But I definitely see a lot of guys that had a lot to do with championship rosters last year. So just be
most definitely, but whose system isn't pointing in the right direction? Is there anybody here who's
Hunter Henry? I don't know if he's going to get
second
that
tight end, Johnny.
No, I get that. Dawson Knox also was he going to be a top 5 tight end next year? Maybe he could with the people that have exited, but again, and then Pat Mahomes, I've always brought this up. Pat Mahomes isn't actually worth a top pick because of the consistency when you're looking at the number of top 12 weeks that he ends up having compared to his draft cost. It actually doesn't really pan out that way, but
it doesn't. He picked up Davis Mills, dude. He's got it.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
I know what you're saying, but he still finished as the number 4 overall quarterback. It might have been consistent lower weekly outputs to get you to that overall 4 spot.
I know, but I'll tell you from a guy who had Tom Brady, who was the number 2 quarterback going into the playoffs, and then put up QB 28 performance. Guess where? I was booted out the first round. So
it can happen.
It can happen. So I'm just saying. You could say, you could look at these guys. Same with Justin Herbert. That's the big thing, people. But Justin Herbert actually had less top 12 weeks than Tom Brady did last year. But who finished higher? Herbert did, because the weeks he went off for a lot more than when Tom Brady did. So
I hear you. I like the Joe Burrow comp over here. I'm with Ronald on this one. That's an A draft right there. And even Johnny said it's an A draft.
We're just an A. I'm just saying,
just pumping a little bit of caution. Just pumping a little bit of caution.
That's all.
Say don't get too excited here. We got more work to do.
Well,
Okay.
don't get any more excited because now we're going to talk about Death by Rona's team, and I can assure you the excitement is probably not. Kidding, Scott. We'll see what you got here. All right, so
you already
Death
said
by Rona, part of our Patreon subscribers. Appreciate you, Scott. He took Jonathan Taylor at the 1-4. Then he paired it with Josh Jacobs, Michael Carter, Kareem Hunt, then Chase Edmonds in the 10th before Chuba Hubbard in the 14th. At wide receiver, he went DeAndre Hopkins at 2.9, then Deontay Johnson. Love that pick. Love the Cortland Sutton pick at 6.9. Nice. Marquise Brown in the 9th, but no more wide receivers after that. His quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. So went with the two statesmen at the end, pairing them with the upside of Dak Prescott. And then his tight ends in the 11th and 13th, he got Logan Thomas and Robert Tonyan. I think people are sleeping on Robert Tonyan as a good breakout candidate, as a guy that, he's going super late, especially with Devontae Adams leaving. So, guys, you have it here. Austin, you're looking at the screen, kind of. I'll go with you first.
Well, I'm on it to be pump in. I was like, what are they talking about? What is this?
Oh, they're still talking about your I guess how things got sexual there with Easy Daddy stuff. I mean, it was hard.
Oh my God, dude. There you go again, Travis, with all of the euphemisms.
Yeah.
It's like a Michael Scott lunch
That's
now.
what she said. Yeah, so what are we thinking, Austin, on Death by Rona's team?
First thought is solid. We're playing word association. Solid. Decent ceiling, decent floor, no holes. It's a B+ A- squad for me. I'm just gonna write A- on this. I don't see any reason not to.
What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think I gave him an A-. I think he was a little bit harsh on his team. I think it's pretty solid. I like this team.
See, I think he just did a reverse psychology on us. He
Yeah,
told
probably.
us in the comments that his
shit worked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it worked.
Trash, and now we're talking good things about it. But we'll move on to Smitty Satao, also part of our Patreon. Appreciate you,
Appreciation,
Carl. Let's see. We've got Justin Herbert at 1-3. Remember, it is Superflex League. He got Trey Lance in the 7th. He's been drafting a lot of Trey Lance this offseason. Kenny Pickett in the 14th is kind of his, lottery ticket rookie QB there. At running back, he took Nick Chubb and Javonte Williams at the 2 and 3. Very, very solid running backs there. Yeah. Ramondre Stevenson in the 8th, also another good ad there. Tony Pollard in the 11th and Alexander Madison in the 13th for those really, really high value handcuffs. At wide receiver, my man Smitty took Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, and Garrett Wilson at the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. He then took Hunter Renfrow in the 9th and watched Johnny Game Time Hicks squirm. Jarvis Landry in the 12th, and that rounded out his wide receivers. And then for tight end, he went Tyler Higbee in the 10th, and then Tyler Higbee's old teammate, Gerald Everett, in the 15th. So, guys, we've got – this team looks good, but I'm not grading this time. Johnny, we'll go with you.
I'm going to go with an A- again. I know we've already given out 3 A's, but
you just didn't want to erase
people brought their A game today, pun intended. But I'm looking at this team realistically, not many. You could say tight end is probably the biggest hole that you have.
Biggest hole.
Yeah. But I like the running backs that you have. I thought they were very purposeful, right? You got good handcuffs. I think your wide receivers are phenomenal. And your quarterbacks, I think, are pretty solid, especially if Lance can get that upside. If he doesn't, this could be a C draft. But
what say you, Austin Sear?
It's okay. Here, it's a B.
Okay,
it's a B for me, and I want to go more. And what I might put, Josh is such a strong drafter. We've done a lot of drafts with Josh. I've been blessed to do so, and he's great. He's won our Listener League championship before, and he usually comes in and just rocks these. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, his second running back might not get a lot of field time. Travis Etienne and AJ Dillon and Drake and Herbert.
We're on Smitty's team.
Yeah, we're on Smitty's team right now.
Oh shit. Well, that makes things a little bit different.
I was just wondering why you were talking about Josh's team. I was like, oh, are you going to say that he sniped him or something?
Yeah.
I was
I
like
thought you were
so
going
in
in
depth.
that.
I was like really leaning in, Travis. I missed a couple of your
know.
comments on this. Taking a look at Smitty Satow's squads, though, I like this a little bit more. I like this.
Yeah.
Like we like to say, the grades are like the points on Drew. You know the whose line it is, anyways. They don't really
Yeah.
matter, but
They
it's
don't
a
really
B
matter.
plus
No,
here
it's-
for Smitty.
This is a B plus ahead. Yeah, I like the quarterbacks here in Lance and Herbert. You get really nice upside. Pick it down there. Chubb and Williams, I think, is a rock solid duo at the running back spot. You might have 2 top 5 running backs when it's all said and done right there. I'd be surprised if you didn't have 2 top 10s when it's all said and done. That's nice. McLaurin, Judy, Wilson, Renfro, Landry. I think McLaurin and Judy bring ceiling to your game, and then Wilson, Renfro, and Landry bring some floor. We'll see about Wilson, but you got at least those other 2 that bring the floor to the game. Higbee and Everett, it's fine. It's not your answer, but I don't think it's your problem either. And it's just a solid team that I think is built well for this season. Ramondre Stevenson is a nice third running back.
Yeah.
It's not an A for me, but it's a strong B.
All right, last team before we dive
All
into
right.
the underdog.
Austin took him a little bit earlier here, but we're talking Josh here, Jay Blizzy, and he took Josh Allen as his first quarterback, then Kyler Murray in the 3rd. Then he took Ryan Tannehill in the 10th. So he's got some good mobile quarterbacks there. At running back, he took Joe Mixon in the 2nd, then Travis Etienne in the 6th, A.J. Dillon in the 8th, followed by Kenyon Drake and Herbert in the 14th and 15th. Like that Herbert pick. I think that was real late for Herbert. Wide receiver, he went DK Metcalf, T. Higgins in the 4th and 5th. Then Brandon Cooks and Brandon Ayuk. So a couple Brandons there, spelt different. 7th and the 9th. And then he took Jacoby Myers and Tim Patrick in the 12th and 13th. His tight end is the Muth, who is officially Luth. Pat Firemuth is the 11th rounder that he took there. So, gentlemen, all that said, Johnny, what do you think? Or Austin, going back to his B.
Yeah.
We already
It's the B. It's the B on this. I love his quarterbacks, Allen and Murray. That will probably put him in the playoffs just with those 2 if they stay healthy. And, Kyler Murray comes around to the player that we all know he absolutely can be all season long. Let's see it, my friend. Joe Mixon, though, is his only real running back as far as I'm concerned. I think Dillon will probably be good. I think he'll probably be like a running back 2. And if anything happens to Jones, he's a locked in RB1, but he's got a guy ahead of him, and that's Aaron Jones. Drake and Herbert, though, could be fine fill in behind. And then over at the wide receiver position, I like these guys, but I don't love the whole room. Like DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, really nice, high floors, low ceilings. Because DK Metcalf, we don't know who's going to be throwing him the ball yet. And T. Higgins, this is one of those funny situations, right? I can argue for or against T. Higgins all the time because it's T. Higgins actually might be the number 1 wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. Remember that 70+ yard touchdown he had in the Super Bowl? It's yes, he could jump Jamar Chase, but he also might be far behind Jamar Chase as the number 2 wide receiver there behind his college buddy, Joe Burrows, that being Jamar Chase. So it's tough for me to say what I really think about T. Higgins, but I do think he got him at a value, and I like the way he drafted. Brandon Cooks is a unsexy wide receiver too. That's a nice one there. Ayuk actually has a little bit more upside. This has more upside than I initially saw, but the lack of running back still does give me a little bit concern. But this team makes the playoffs, and it's got upside to boot.
And we know if he makes the playoffs, Jay Blizzy wins ships, man.
That's right. I give him a B. Yeah. I do think this is one of his.
He's just so good all the time.
Not as good drafted teams.
And he even said, "I agree, Austin. Don't like my RB2 situation in this one." So
yeah,
he's aware of his faults here, and he's going to go to his room and think about what he's done. Just kidding, Josh. Appreciate you.
I do like
AC. We're going to do the underdog draft. That's right, Austin. I sent the link to both of you guys. So get in that draft, and then we'll drop it here on the YouTube for the 3 more spots that will be available in that draft.
Oh, let's go.
We've got one of you are in.
Hold on.
That's me.
I'm trying to.
Speaking of, it says it's filled.
Really?
You're disgusting, Travis.
No, I'm just saying the second spot is filled, dude. Austin
Wait, you got both spots filled? Dirty man.
Oh,
Travis, you've been watching that
yeah,
premium.
I'm a dog.
haven't you?
I'm an underdog.
Oh, what are you doing?
Johnny, are you in there, dude? Are
I'm
you in yet?
trying- no, not yet.
Oh my God, it's in.
I'm about to be though. All right,
I get a boner.
release
Are we all
it.
in?
Release the Kraken.
You ready?
I'm good.
Oh,
I'm good. I got it.
Yeah, in.
I gotta drop
Yeah,
it
you-
here on YouTube. Drop it like it's hot. Let me see here.
Oh,
Hold on, I got it. All right, link should be there for you guys for the rest of yous guys.
we're waiting on 3 people.
All right, join us, Whisper Nation. Who's not doing it?
Oh yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah, Ron's saying if you can't tell if it's in, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, facts.
Wait, why didn't my link go in? Hold on. I got it.
What is going on? What's the struggle is real.
All right. Well, I posted it from. I guess it just didn't post from my personal account, so I had to post it from the team.
Yeah.
It's saying, "Hey, you Joe Schmo, you can't post links to this YouTube.
You don't have the credentials.
Yeah, you're not approved here. Okay, we got
2 more.
two more spots.
Oh, one more. Oh, we're filled.
Oh, and we're full.
Filled.
Just like that.
Oh, we are full.
Yeah, fill us. So we got Brocal.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Lou.
Love it.
Death by Rona.
There we
boys?
go. There we go.
Let's draft a best ball tournament, fellas.
Next week we should do 12. I think we can get it going.
I think we can do 12 next year or
Let's
next
do it.
week.
next year. Johnny's
Yeah.
like, yeah, next year.
Next
I
year.
think we can do it.
Next
Yeah,
year
let's
we
do
will
it.
Well, you know the drill, guys. Underdog Fantasy, or download the app, use the promo code TFW, and you too can draft with us. I mean, the band
All night long.
you two could also draft with us, but you as well could draft with us, and you could have a stacked team like we're about to have, because that is the one thing that we know is my team is about to be so stacked.
So stacked. Remember when YouTube like forced their album onto everybody's iPhone?
Oh my God, dude. Yes.
I was just talking like I was like
Awesome.
we were talking in our head. I was like, YouTube in my mind is so overrated. And they were like, really? Why? And I was like, because they put their album on everybody's phone and people were sad about it. That's the only thing I remember about them.
That's it.
That's not the only thing I remember about them. I remember that IMAX. YouTube's awesome.
Well,
Oh shit, I'm on the.
where they counted and they
Yeah,
counted
you
to
had-
like 20 or something in their lyrics. Isn't that them? Uno, dos, tres, and then they.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's the other thing I remember about YouTube.
14.
I am always next to Austin.
What's up, baby?
Best balls, dude. Yeah.
Well, I thought I had gotten the number 1 pick again, and I was like, all right, this is getting a little.
Well,
crazy
you
now.
didn't. I did. So.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't want the number 1 pick again.
I went with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
It's scary,
That's
but
pretty,
not in
that's pretty
best ball.
good. No,
Right, it's
not
not-
in best ball. Yeah, best ball.
It's like the one area I could get shares of CMC this year, I feel like. And feel good about it.
Sunday, bloody Sunday. I'm just having a U2 stroke over here, as Ronald says.
Got to go with the DH, designated hitter, and Derrick Henry.
It's a great
Oh,
best
wait,
ball
What
pickup.
happened? What happened?
I don't know, bro. He's still around.
5
Johnny, game
seconds,
time.
4,
3,
3.
2.
No,
Julian
it's-
Edelman.
throw it. Oh my gosh! Give it an. Oh my god. Okay, good. It literally no. It
Well,
didn't
get your shit
show
right. You're
him.
gonna be back so
Hold on.
fast.
No, I'm saying it. What happened was it didn't show. Like I hit draft, and then it like didn't pick. It was just counting down, and then it was like, oh, failed to
The
draft Derrick
final
Henry.
countdown.
Oh, bro, this is like taking a second every time. What's going on? Hold on. I literally just
Dude, Austin going off. Johnny's having like a midlife crisis trying to have his picks. This is great.
no, every time I pick right away and then it doesn't, it like sits there for 10 seconds and then it's like, oh,
It's
So
couldn't
are you hitting the draft button?
yes, but it was like telling me it was not.
No, but there's a little green arrow that says draft, Johnny.
Yes, I know.
Oh,
I'm saying I hit that and it would not.
yeah,
select
because
the
there's a
player.
drop down, and then you press the button to draft.
You guys are unbelievable right now.
That's what I wanted, dude. I wanted the old man grumble. I wanted the-
No.
What did I do, Johnny? I didn't do anything, man.
My app isn't working, and now I'm gonna end up losing this draft because it's gonna inevitably mess up.
Oh shit.
Calvin Brown. Love all the TFW shows, but I'm really into today's.
Oh,
Ooh, I
is
like
that a
that
sexual
one.
innuendo?
Yeah.
It
Oh my
can
God,
be.
it's
Nasty, nasty
You
boy.
got a Whisper Nation boner? I don't know, dude. We're market testing some
Hey.
things, right?
Hey,
You know, Ronald's burrito's almost ready. You're a dirty dog, Ronald, man.
Dirty underdog.
dirty
Ooh,
underdog.
TFW.
Oh,
Make sure you use TFW up for $100 and free money. Use that
Yeah.
promo code. Oh shit, Miss Yaz's comment up here. I sure didn't like seeing TikTok and Facebook pre-installed my new phone, right? I was like,
hey.
I didn't either.
What would be worse is if it was TikTok and it was playing the U2 album.
Oh
As
my-
soon as you went to your For You page, it was automatically playing U2's album.
Oh. I mean,
Oh,
one
Lord.
might just
Dude,
say that's
first
really
of all,
smart
the
marketing.
cut-ups from this week's episode. I agree with Calvin Brown. The
What-
cut-ups are great from this week's episode because we're talking U2, we're talking sexual innuendos. I mean, it's
In your endo.
Well, I think what we're
Hey-oh!
I
That's what
think
she
what
said.
we're determining here is that we need to get our videos
Get laid.
implanted on new iPhones when they come in. You just automatically have the Fantasy Whisperers data source with all our content loaded on the iPhone.
There we go. Working on these partnerships here. Dude, man, I'm really liking my freaking team right now.
Of course you are, dude.
I mean, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill stuff. I don't have a running back yet. Yeah, fuck it.
I think I want CeeDee Lamb over AJ.
I think that's smart.
Yeah, that is smart. AJ Green.
Really
Yeah,
smart.
exactly. Yeah, definitely AJ Green for sure.
No, I like CD over AJ Brown this year. Higher passing attack, better quarterback. It's the lead receiver.
All right. Oh, I
AJ
took
Brown's got to deal with
Mccaffrey.
Humphreys. That's a joke. So Johnny, who are you going to take with CD Lamb now? Ooh, Mark Andrews. That was smart.
Yeah, I went for. I mean, it does.
Mark Andrews over Pitts.
Yes, because I'll tell you why. Because Mark Andrews, especially in best ball, he gets those like 40-point, 30-point fantasy weeks. He's had, I want to say it's over 6 in the last 2 years. He's had over 6 of those. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's up there. He has a couple of them at least per season. So fantasy best ball wise, you definitely want something like that. But
Johnny, you scroll down just a little bit. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I got it. Just want people to see.
Maybe we can do like a minus. Can we make the draft board smaller? Is that possible?
Oh, now last week it's hey, can you make it bigger? This week it's make it smaller.
Yeah, man.
Unbelievable.
Different fits for
Dude,
different.
you guys have changed. You
Shit.
know, you guys have changed.
Every day, man.
That's
Isn't that
the
the
point.
Wow. So they say.
If you are not changing, should say if you're not growing,
Oh,
which
shit.
is constant change, then you're dying. Which
Saquon Barkley.
so
Icky.
weird.
I guess that's an all right pick there.
Well, did you see what I did?
You take my Turner Gibson. I wanted to be there.
I took Gibson because we were talking about I was like, I'll just diversify here. I'll take Gibson, even though I think it's probably Saquon, even in best ball. I'm gonna take Gibson here.
I wanted to take my running back combo and Tolsom's one too with Aaron Jones and Antonio Gibson.
Too bad, dude. Too
Mm,
bad. So sad. Call your
I
dad.
am
Say what's up, Richard.
sad. Travis is being a fucking dick. He'll be like, does he want my Donald Driver jersey still? I'll be like, yes.
All right, I'll send it to him.
No.
Oh my
Whisper
God.
Nation, if you didn't know, my dad wanted to give Travis his Green Bay Donald Driver jersey, the one that he wore to the Packers' latest Super Bowl in Dallas. And he's like, hey, Austin, let me talk to you really quick. I was like, all right. He's like, hey, I'm thinking about gifting Travis my Donald Driver jersey. Would you have any issue with that? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, yeah, I just wanted to give it to him because, I thought he'd like it. I'm like, right. He's like, and you'd have an issue with that? I'm like, I would. And he's like, well, can I give it? Can I give it to him? I was like, I wish you really wouldn't, because I would like that one myself. It's like, okay, well, I just thought Travis might. I was like, I get it.
No, I understand that Travis would like and enjoy the jersey. I get that. But don't fucking give it to him.
And then he went and spent Thanksgiving Day at his house, and it was super awkward when I went over to Travis's house unexpected. So, whatever. Life is hard.
Also,
Part of that is true.
oh, Calvin, you like the hat? You can
Yeah.
get yourself one of these hats over at
nice.
thefantasywhispers.com.
Ooh, nice.
Glad you like it. We like it too.
We like you three.
You three?
Did you say you two? We're doing more
Oh,
YouTube.
you two.
It's a beautiful day.
Sunday, bloody Sunday. That's what it's going to be for my team, because it's just going to be beating other teams to a pulp on Sundays.
Blood. So much
Oh,
blood.
God. I got to draft someone, though.
Blood. Yeah, you got to.
Blood.
Oh,
Oh,
you
Jalen
messed
Waddle.
up.
Nice
You-
pickup.
I think that was a bit of a reach for your guy.
Oh, shit. Speaking of reaching for guys, I'll take. I don't care what Johnny said. I'll take Patrick Mahomes here.
Oh yeah, and yeah, we're also in like the 7th round now.
Johnny, I know you hate him, and you hate what he's
No,
about.
and also
you hate
in
what he
best
studies
ball-
and how he looks.
Johnny's over
And
here
best ball is
judging
the best.
every single pick, dude.
No, and best ball he's actually like the best. Well,
The best. Now he's on my team. I mean, I'm the
I mean,
best.
no, it's a good thing to get him on your team.
Yeah. Say it
All right.
again.
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
Ah, I like a little Eddie Vedder.
Look,
Throw
I
in there. That's
drafted
nice.
drafted 7 rounds worth of players, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Nice.
Nice. Classic.
Nice. That was really good. That was excellent.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Really, Johnny? DJ Moore right there? What a reach,
Yep.
dude.
Yep, dude. It's my guy.
Who's quarterbacking for the Panthers?
It's gonna be Baker
It's
Mayfield.
gotta be Robbie Anderson, because he keeps hating on everybody they bring
Dude,
in.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Dude. Can we talk a
like-
second about Robbie Anderson and him being like so like operating in his own world? Like did he
Yeah.
know that people can read his tweets?
Also, does he not realize that like people can also look him up on Pro
George
Football
Kittle?
Focus?
No, Death by Rona. That's who I wanted. Oh, I didn't even have a backup.
Hey, Johnny,
Fuck
just so
you.
you know, so you don't end up drafting him, Calvin Ridley's got the out symbol next to his name now, just so you catch him this time.
Yeah. No,
I don't want you to accidentally
I mean,
snag
won't.
him. dude.
you won't.
Seriously, right, Calvin? I was like hearing, I was like, damn, that sounded really nice. That's some good singing. Travis, you do any singing growing up?
Yeah, I was in choir.
Yeah.
I was too, but that
Middle
meant nothing
school.
for my pipe.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Dude. I was in choir
I mean,
as well, and my teacher told me
I was in
"Hey,
choir
you
for
need to
1 year.
stop
We
singing."
sang. We did like a Disney medley.
on ice, Disney on Ice medley.
No, it was more like old school, like the Mary Poppins songs we sang.
Oh, okay.
So
Hey, you have 12
Oh,
seconds,
Chimney,
mister.
chimney, chim, chim, chiroo. Isn't that?
if you're real lucky, yeah.
I've got a draft pick ready for you.
Hey, nice.
Ooh. I mean, that sounded a lot like oompa oompa tee tee.
Look at my kitty boy. What's that
If
kitty boy?
you are wise, you'll draft with me.
What?
What do you get when you draft
gobble
Julian
up?
Edelman?
A funny reel that Instagram made relevant.
Nice.
Nice.
Classic.
That was a good save.
That was, yeah.
Dude, look at that. Michael
Yeah,
Thomas in
let's
the
go.
ninth.
Let's go.
Suck it, Johnny. Suck it, Trevor.
Oh, got my double dip, that chip right there with Joe Burrow. All the way in the ninth. I finally got my double dip.
That's pretty nice. Joe Burrow and T. Higgins is pretty good.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's
Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good.
Pretty solid, you know.
Just for the record, I took Michael Thomas in both drafts today.
Well,
Really hoping Michael Pittman makes it to me.
what made you wake up and want to do that?
Me?
Yeah.
I put on an album of Johnny's greatest hits before I go to sleep.
Oh.
And
Johnny Cash?
Johnny Game Time. Usually it makes me wet the bed, but this time I woke up just really feeling Michael Thomas. I was like, this one.
Nice.
Well, good.
Mm.
Glad to have you on board.
Real talk though, this is actually a pretty fun team name. Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Well, that is
pretty
good.
It's a pretty good one. Yeah.
What are some other of your good team names, Whisper Nation? Let us know in the comments below.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
What's your favorite team name, or a good one, or just one that you like? I'll start. I've always wanted to have a Bengals, Lions, and a Bears player, so then I can name my team Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my! I just think it sounds cool.
Yeah, I like that one. Mine's still my favorite one is Drake's favorite team. That one's classic.
That's pretty good. A little bit of a wind up on that, but you brought it forward with the gifs and images.
Yeah.
Johnny's premise on that one, Whisper Nation, was that Drake, it was around the time of him rooting for some college football, basketball champion, whatever. And it's like Drake picks whoever has the best chance of winning it all. That was the joke around. So Johnny's like, that's my team, baby. Drake's your favorite team.
Well, it's classic too, because like somebody else had like a different team name. So they like went in depth as to why they named it that. And then Chelsea, Philly Chelsea, she also had one team name like that. So she decided to write a paragraph on why her team name was what it was. And then so I was just like, oh, whatever. Like, I'm not going to write anything, but I'll make these Photoshop photos of Drake and me and my team, and became Drake's new favorite team.
That was pretty good. Calvin says, my fave is Jacari's Dragons. Guess my favorite TV show. Vikings.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Ooh, that's got to be it.
Ooh.
We're big Game of Thrones fans.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Hey, that's an underrated movie. Don't you be dissing on How to Train Your Dragon.
I'm not dissing it. He has show, and you
good, because I was about to come right through this damn screen.
You trying to step, Travis?
Yeah.
You trying to step?
I'm just trying to get Johnny to play by the rules. When somebody says, mention a show, don't say a movie.
Hey, I'm sure there's a How to Train Your Dragon TV show now. That movie was good enough.
There's not.
No?
Though.
Are you sure about that?
Not the lip bite.
I'm gonna have to get back on this knowing more about these PG movies, dude. Baby J can't be watching no rated R stuff. So
why not?
What about The Matrix?
My parents were never like really big on that stuff, so I probably won't be either. Like, hey,
oh, you want to watch Braveheart? This shit's fire.
This shit's fire.
Prima Nocta.
Oh my goodness. Let me explain this concept to you so you understand the rest of the film, Baby J. Le'Veon Rose from Yaz didn't pan out quite the last few years. Inspired by the things eat. Good for you. Thinking of some of our friend Zabo's team names, where he crams as many freaking puns in as possible.
The Gosbrowskis.
The Gosbrowskis.
Oh man, that was my second pick right there. I didn't want to do that. Well, that's okay.
No.
I got Jerry Jeudy. That's okay. He's good.
Oh my God, I want that. Please don't take who I want right now, DBR. Don't take him.
Oh, it's happening.
Get it, you got him. I got him. Give me Gabriel Davis. Give him to me now.
Oh, want that upside, huh?
I'm gonna fucking win this one for sure.
I don't know.
I do. I don't. How can you know that?
Travis's team is pretty stacked on this one. So,
oh yeah.
Speaking of going on both drafts here, Big Travie just trying to repeat what he did earlier. Again, J.K. Dobbins here. Did you draft T.J. Hawkinson earlier, Travis?
I did not.
Oh, I thought you were talking about him. You wanted to. You thought about it.
Also like to go backwards. Dirty.
First of
Like-
all, the first part of this comment is great. Backwards dirty.
Backwards
Everybody
dirty.
loves to go backwards dirty. The second part's
dude.
great. Like Liddy Tickers, Butt Buckers, and Looty Bickers.
Looty Pickers.
This reminds me of the Orbit commercial.
Dude.
This
So
is
Who
like
are you calling
our
the
home.
cootie queen. You lit
Oh,
liquor.
You learned lager. This Johnny, you referenced our hometown league. This reminds me of Jared's team names. I think like his for the last several years has been Big Test Icicles.
Oh yeah. Nice. Nice.
And then I think his image is just Randy Marsh. That episode with his
Randy.
cojones.
Look at your balls. They're huge. Yeah, smoking weed in front of a cop.
Yeah, Big Test Icicles. Oh my God. Speaking of this though, just because I saw Jared recently, dude, he was giving me the best lesson on. So my homie Jared, who I got to play football with in high school and just one of my best friends, he is one of the most like confident, out there, act as if you belong people I've ever met. Helps that he's 6'4", 300+ pounds, but he is also somebody who just like embodies whatever he needs to embody to move throughout a room. And he came up with this line. He said, you have to just act like you are exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So why would you explain that to anybody? You're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Right.
Yeah.
And he,
Travis like, yeah.
that's the rule. That's what you got to do.
That's the rule.
And he was telling me he was at a Denver game. And it just made me think there. He was at a Denver game and a homie had handed him, and this was like a little while back, and a homie had handed him like a joint. And he was going around like smoking it at the stadium, just like chilling, doing what he does. And then he got caught by security. And they were like, look, if you just give this to me now, like we got no problems. We're not going to like call the cops. We're going to do anything. And you just like go on about your business, man, but just give it to me now. And he's like, oh, he just plays dumb. He's like, okay, here you go. And then these cops start following him. And then later on, they like stop him and they're like, hey, what were you smoking there? He goes, oh, I got no idea. And they go, what do you mean you got no idea? He goes, I'm from Arizona. And they're like, okay, well, what does that have to do, with the tea in China? He's like, yeah, I don't know. And they're like, well, no, seriously though, what were you smoking? He's like, I don't know. And they're like, sir, what was going on? He goes, I know, man, it's so crazy. I just don't know. like, you got to hear it.
That's so crazy. I just don't know.
Well, that's like Chelsea. She was there when he was telling us about it. And the go-to line was like, look, guys, I'm from Arizona. I don't know. It's like, you don't know what you were. He's like, no, man, they gave it to me. Things are crazy here.
Things are crazy here.
And then my dad is sitting at the same table and he goes, never, ever, ever admit what they can't prove. And Jared goes, is that fatherly advice?
Yeah, kind of. It is. I mean,
oh my God. No, it really was though. Yeah, like my dad like turned up in a way that he never did to me as being my dad. Like he had a pretty like solid head on his shoulders when it came to those matters, but like he was a little bit wild too. And so to hear him like totally break out of his dad hat and just to be like, don't ever, ever, ever admit what they can't prove. And I was like, damn, you were a conscious objector in Vietnam who like, did all your weird stuff. All right, rounding out this. Oh, Ramondre, that's a nice pickup.
I don't know if you guys have heard
checked
this.
out the draft over the last.
I mean,
couple
obviously, there's nothing I can say that'll surprise you guys, but my team is stacked.
You got to mark this one down.
Like
Which one is this?
Yeah.
One,
The April 18th
We
draft.
should. What if you are only allowed to be like, my team is stacked like a max of 2 times?
Oh,
You're
no,
only allowed to claim that your team.
Well, this team would get it because it just is.
Yeah. Well, he's got to take Calvin Ridley first, and then it would be.
Did someone take him already?
No, he's
that's
still on the
Johnny-
board for you.
Johnny's
dude.
Right.
He's
That's
still
Johnny-
on the
Johnny's
board
spot on
for
pick
you.
right there.
Hey.
What are you guys gonna eat tonight?
Good question.
Good point. Good point, Ron.
Oh, you know what? That's probably what it is, huh, Ron? It's that it's a 6-man league. That's why it's so stacked.
Can't put it past the professor, guys. As soon as we think we're smart,
Yeah.
let's get back. Fine. Fine.
No, but yeah, what's for dinner?
Steak.
Oh, I'm gonna do some tri-tip
yeah.
I'm gonna do steak as well. Do tri-tip.
Yeah.
Nice.
Chelsea is at an event tonight, and she will be out until 8:00. And
You're looking out for yourself.
I am. I'm an only child, though, so I'm used to it. I was gonna make that a more depressing joke than it came around to being. So I'll try better next time.
Or maybe just be depressed and don't try at all.
Yeah, that's another route too.
Yeah, that's just like
Less effort, right?
just be in character.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That sounds good. Beef.
I don't want him.
Yeah, beef. That's what's for dinner. Did you say I don't want him and then you drafted him?
Oh no, I didn't want the other guy that I was looking at.
Oh, good. Don't look at him because I want him. No,
He's mine.
You better not.
I'll just take.
Oh, unbelievable. This guy.
Oh, nice pick.
Yeah, that is a pretty good one. I was eyeing him. I was looking at him. But then I was like, I'd rather have Zach Ertz.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty surprising, huh? Getting Zach Ertz in the 18.
I thought I drafted a third quarterback.
Oh, damn it,
I only have
Austin.
two.
I literally was going to draft him.
No, you weren't, dude.
Yeah, I had it up. So that my time wouldn't even run out.
Yeah, but you don't.
But then
you didn't understand about the green draft button, so I'm not even sure you would have got him.
I did understand about the green draft button. It just wasn't working. Harry.
Don't ever, ever, ever admit what they can't prove.
Hey, what?
He was like eating food too when he said it, and like he was like
He
so.
just stopped.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? What have you done, Dad?
Come on,
That
baby.
they couldn't prove.
Admit it. I'll
Don't
never admit
take-
it because they can't prove it.
Don't take this pick. Come on. Yes. Boom.
I love when Johnny gets happy.
Yeah, I was excited about that one. Garrett Wilson getting
Dude,
a share there.
I think Freak Stomper got bombed with our Drake London take and never came back.
I know. He
Oh,
peekabooed right
man.
out of here, dude.
Peekaboo bye.
He was
Man, if he
he did-
peekabooed us though right at
he
the end,
also
man, I'd be
didn't-
so excited.
I don't think he got a spot in the draft, so that might have been why
Oh,
All right.
he didn't stick
he was
around
like,
because he wasn't in the
I'm
sleeper
out.
draft.
Yeah.
Which one of these QBs has the most upside?
none of them.
Probably Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, that can't be it. Trevor
Oh,
Lawrence,
man.
maybe. Does Trevor Lawrence?
Zach Wilson.
I'd take Trevor Lawrence.
T-Law.
I think actually Carson Wentz probably.
Carson Wentz or Daniel
think
Jones?
Daniel Jones has the highest upside of who's left.
For best ball?
Being honest, yeah.
Like best
Or
ball
Jared
wise?
Goff. Jared Goff actually.
Yeah, Jared Goff doesn't run though.
True.
Mm,
Malik Willis actually. If you really want upside, Malik Willis.
Yeah,
That dude rising up draft boards.
He doesn't have a team yet, Johnny.
Yeah, but so that's why it's smart, dude.
No.
Says here his teeth
No.
were made out of wool.
All right,
Uh,
Whisper Nation. We got 20 rounds through in our Underdog Best Ball Tournament. If you didn't have a chance to get in this one, good news. You got a chance to get in next week's. Every Monday at the
Ooh,
same time, we're going to be
awesome.
doing our mock draft followed by a real best ball draft over on Underdog Fantasy. Would love to have you with us. If you like what you've been listening to and want to get in on it, not only hit that subscribe, but hit that little bell. That's what notifies you to let you know when we're coming up live. So you can get, Monday and Thursday we'll be coming at you live with other bits of content dropped throughout the week. Monday and Thursday consistent though. So we'll see you next week if you didn't have a chance to get in on this one. How are we looking, Johnny, with the points?
Brocal, I think, is the winner or projected. Another major projection of Austin, I think you came in second on those, but
That's
look
close.
right here,
Drew K. Lou.
43.89. Drew K. Lou was at they had a good one too. Oh yeah, no, Drew K. Lou. Sorry, Drew K. Lou
nice.
was. I got a little mixed up there.
Stop the count, dude.
Stop the count. We want to recount, but Drew K. Lou here, Dak, Deshaun, Ryan, Najee, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon.
You can ring my bell.
All right. Well, we'll see. That's a pretty good team, actually. That's pretty stacked there. I do like this team. All right.
Well, there it is. You got it, Whisper Nation, man. It's been a really fun time hanging out with all you guys. Calvin Brown, Ronald, of course. Yaz jumping in. That was super cool. We got Death by Rona, of course. Josh joined up with us. Freak Stomper at the top of it all. Mr. Miyagi stopping by. Absolutely love it. Love you all. If I missed you out there, it was unintentional, I promise. Thanks for joining with us. Let us know. Let us know when. I don't know. Let us know what the fuck you want to let us know. We love you guys. Johnny, Travis, and like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Really appreciate the support. Any final words, Travi? Johnny?
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love. What about you, Johnny?
I'll second that. Peace and love.
Make that a third. On behalf of Big Travi, that's Johnny Game Time Hicks. I'm Austin Sear with the Fantasy Whispers. We're out of here. Peace.
Right here.
Hey, you like mock drafting? So do we. Check out one of our previous mocks in the videos here and like